Listen to Mahomes' splits last night, first half, second half. First half, he was 8 of 15, about 50% for 89 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. His second half performance was better than a lot of quarterbacks' full game performances yesterday. 17 of 19, 90% for 210 with 3 tutties. I mean, just dominance in that second half. To talk more about last night's game, we're excited to welcome to the Rude guest hotline. Rude makes the most reliable HVAC products in the DMV. Danan Hughes, Kansas City Chiefs radio color commentator. Danan, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, guys? Everything's well here in Kansas City. Obviously, after last night's game, I know you guys don't want to hear that, but it was a great win for us.
It sure was.
We were still there till this morning. We were hearing it from people already.
How about this? You watched the Chiefs, have for years, played for them. What were you feeling at halftime? Were you just waiting for KC to turn it on, or did you think, oh, man, we got a game here?
I was definitely waiting for them to turn it on. Like, this is not uncommon for us. And this is one of the great things about being under Andy Reid and during his tenure and all the successes that we've experienced is that, like, we never feel like we're out of a game. And we never feel like we're out of sorts or that the game is faster or a team is better. It's just a matter of time. And, you know, to think that after that first quarter alone, where each team was in the other team's territory and no points were put on the board, no field goal attempts or anything, like you just kind of felt like, yeah, in some respect, the Washington Commanders had to feel like, hey, this is a win. We're holding them down. They're not scoring points. We're not necessarily capitalizing on our opportunities. But on the other side of the field, the Chiefs are like, okay, next series, you know, first series interception, second series interception. You don't see any guys throwing helmets, arguing on the sideline. You don't see any, you know, truly bad body language outside of maybe a little bit from Travis Kelce because the ball went off his hands. But other than that, it's just like the next order of business. And then once you start to see things click, then it's like, okay, now here's where we are. Like it's kind of like, you know, Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or someone, once they hit that first shot, it's like, okay, now we're going to see the real Chiefs, and it was only a matter of time. And that's not anything as a, you know, to throw shade on the Commanders. You know, you guys are behind the 8 ball with the injuries to your starting quarterback, the injuries sustained all around your depth chart. It's tough. And to come in to Arrowhead Stadium on Monday Night Football, even fully loaded, is tough.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I thought we played our game the way we were capable of playing, especially in the second half.
And I think, for me, when they didn't get any points off of the turnovers and things like that, I felt at that point, it's like, okay, here we go. Because when you go through that, when you play that well, you don't put any points on that team, and you come out in the second half, you play your best, they play their best, more than likely you're going to lose.
Yeah, I agree, especially when you're on the road. Like, there's 2 things that you cannot do on the road is not capitalize off of the home team's miscues by putting points on the board and settling for field goals. Now, I give you guys credit. You guys went for it on multiple fourth downs because I feel like Dan Quinn knew you're not going to have success or sustain success on this field against this team by coming away with 3 points. So he was going for it, and our defense stepped up. But at the same time, like, this is what this team is. Like, what you saw against the Chargers in week 1 in Brazil and against the Eagles in week 2 and then against the Jaguars on our last Monday night, that wasn't necessarily who we are. And yet those games weren't terribly bad. All 3 of our losses were by 1 score.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how close we are from being, 8-0 in some respects. So, like, this team is good. We're clicking on all cylinders. We've got a couple of injuries on the offensive line, and guys are stepping up, and we're playing really, really good defense. And that's crazy to say when you have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice, that really the story should be this defense and what they've been able to accomplish.
Looking at your offensive line and there are some teams out there that are not injured that have better talent than the Commanders. Is that something that needs to be solidified if you're going to go on that run?
I think there's always a concern. When you consider the 2 Super Bowls that we lost, and in the fashion that we lost them, getting blown out by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady, and then getting blown out this past year with the Philadelphia Eagles, yeah, the glaring part of those games were the inadequacies of the offensive line. But mainly those were backups that were fill-in because we had some injuries. So I think any team across the board will be concerned when you have to be relegated to backups as your offensive lineman in key games, especially in the postseason. Like, I don't think that's an uncommon situation or issue that anybody would face. We just got to hope for the best. Josh Simmons going through some personal stuff with he and his family. Hopefully he's able to come back, stay focused, and play like he was playing in the first 4 games of the season. And then, we hope that Trey Smith, which I think on all accounts, he'll be back. But a back injury is a back injury, and it doesn't matter what kind of shape you're in.
Yep.
Heck, we know as older folks,
Totally.
when that back starts tightening up, you don't know. You never know when it's going to tighten back up again. So just got to hope for the best there.
Talking with Danan Hughes here on the Rude Guest Hotline. Danan does the radio broadcast for the Kansas City Chiefs. Danan, I'm curious. If folks want to give you a follow, they can at the Hughes Guy 83, DA Hughes, HUGHES Guy 83. I'm curious. I mean, you played for the Chiefs. You've now been on these radio broadcasts for a number of years. You know what excellence looks like because that's become kind of the norm for Kansas City now, really, especially once Andy got with Pat and that thing just hit the stratosphere. When you watched Washington last night, and I can't stress enough that not having Jaden Daniels completely changes everything for that organization. Yeah. But what did you see that you thought is encouraging going forward, and what did you see that you were kind of surprised by?
So one of the top things going into the game last week is that the status or the nature of what we're seeing in the NFC East isn't necessarily overwhelming football. So from that standpoint, it seems like every team in that division conventionally has a shot. So that's a good thing. And when you guys get healthy, you see glimpses. Deebo Samuel can definitely be a force. That was a freak play that the ball hit him in the chest and bounced right to Mike Dana last night. That wouldn't happen 99 other times he's thrown the ball. Terry McLaurin, getting him back has got to be at the forefront of everybody's mind in regards to you guys bouncing back and rejuvenating this season. But I mean, your defensive line, they've done a solid job. I thought your linebackers really played well, and the defensive backs, in some respect, they were solid. I don't know what it will take for you guys to get to where you were last year, if you still have that same kind of magic. But I definitely think that you can't gauge a team based on key components being hurt. We've been in situations where Carson Wentz had to come in and backup quarterbacks had to fight through playoff games for us here to get to Super Bowls. Yeah, if you have to lean on somebody for one game, you might be able to survive. But if you have to lean on them for multiple games, it makes it an uphill battle. So I feel like the jury's still out for the Commanders. There's definitely some positivity, but once you guys get your key players out of the training room, I think that's when the real assessment can happen.
Yeah, it seems like this year we never know who's going back in the training room.
Yeah.
Javon Kinlaw got hurt last night. They said he was okay to come back in and didn't. Terry McLaurin, after that big catch down the sideline, did not come back in. Do you think
Laramie Tunsil?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Hamstring. Yep. So I mean, it just continues to stack on, and you feel bad for all the Commanders fans and for Dan Quinn, because you're thinking coming into this season, hey, we kind of turned the corner last year, and now we want to build on it, and then you kind of get hit by this injury bug. And you're not necessarily putting yourself in the best position to do so.
Not at all.
Totally. Were you surprised at all by Washington? You mentioned it, going for it on fourth down made sense for them, and I agree with you. When they had the fourth and short at the 28, did you think, were you surprised, I guess, that they decided to line up in shotgun and air that out there rather than maybe just try to grind out a yard?
Yeah, I was surprised at that. And then late in the game, I think it was 7 minutes left. Yeah, I think people probably knew it was an uphill battle to even get back in the game. They had 4th and 10 and they punted.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not a good look. But I can also understand going back to the whole injury thing. If you're Dan Quinn, like, hey, it's going to be a struggle to win this game.
Yeah.
Why put our team and our guys in harm's way? Let's just play it conventionally, not call any timeouts, not do anything in that nature. But I thought, yeah, there were times. To me, here's the thing. When you're playing the Chiefs, especially with where we are now with all of our offensive weapons, it reminds me of what we experienced here in 2018, 2019, when Patrick took over mainly, where teams had to figure out, we're going to be in a shootout, and we got to go throw for throw and blow for blow with this team and figure out how to score 30-plus points to win.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of back in that zone, but one thing that the teams that were successful back then did is that they ran the ball, they stuck with running the ball, and what that accomplished was taking a lot of time off the clock and keeping our offense on the sideline. So when you're in those situations, I thought if you are Dan Quinn and you know we're in 4-down territory, you don't have to throw the ball on 3rd down, right? You can run the ball on 3rd down because you already know that if you don't get the 1st down, you're going to be in 4-down territory. That's the creativity that I think you can kind of impose to keep the defense off kilter just a bit. And I thought that maybe they get into the mindset, and this is what the Baltimore Ravens have done with John Harbaugh. We've seen this time and time again against Patrick Mahomes. You go into a game with a game plan, you see 15 across the field, you see his exploits on a couple of drives, and whatever you thought coming into the game, you kind of scrap and say, our quarterback needs to match him. Mm-hmm. And that is a recipe for disaster that most teams and most organizations have made. Like you think back to the AFC Championship just a couple of years ago with Lamar Jackson, where they only ran the ball 5 times.
Yeah,
like who would ever think? Yeah, who would ever think that would be? You can't convince me that going into week of practice, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday installs, that they say, you know what, we're not going to run Derrick Henry. I'm sorry, it wasn't Derrick Henry yet. We're not going to run the ball at all. We're just going to go pass for pass and throw for throw and try to match Patrick Mahomes. That was not the case, but it changes as soon as you see him on the field, and I feel like that was probably the case last night.
Yeah.
As you watched last night, and this was a pretty fun, competitive game in the first half, and then Mahomes was just excellent in the second half. I mean, he went for over 200 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. I know what my eyes showed me about Kansas City and kind of what they've proven over this decade of dominance. That's a true Super Bowl contender. When you watched Washington last night, do you see a playoff team? I mean, what did you see just kind of overall there?
It's tough for me to gauge the NFC, especially a team like the Commanders, because we only see them once every 4 years.
Sure.
I think that is one of a huge detriment to playing this Kansas City Chiefs team when you are a team that has to face us once every 4 years. If you notice, teams that have had success against us are usually the teams that play us every year. And they have a level of confidence because they have some familiarity with us. But like a team like the Giants and sometimes the Jets and now the Commanders, like, my goodness, I wouldn't wish that on our worst enemies, that you guys have to especially come to us on Monday Night Football and play us once every 4 years and this offense. So having said that, based on what I've seen around the NFC, yeah, they're the top tier teams, the Lions, the Packers seem to be kind of resurrected a little bit. But I don't see why not a healthy Commanders team, especially with what I saw last year. Like a healthy team that presented itself like you guys did last year can definitely make some noise in the postseason. And right now, what you guys have to just think about is getting to the dance.
Mhm.
Like it's not necessarily about possibly winning the NFC East. May not even be about hosting. It's just about getting there, and that's got to be the mindset.
I mean, that's what the Giants did. Giants got in as a wild card, went on and won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and it's
Yep, exactly.
watching. I mean, the reality for Washington last year is their superpower was a rookie quarterback that could just make crazy plays. And you wonder if last night was a game where Jaden is out there healthy and able to like go blow for blow with Mahomes, it looks totally different. And that's probably what ESPN wanted when they set this up for a Monday Night Football matchup. Like the young hotshot quarterback and the legend, future Hall of Famer. And I thought Mariota played pretty well. The first pick off Debo's chest, not even close to his fault. They started chasing late. To your point, the punt on 4th and 7 late in that game when you're down 28-7, I thought was pretty remarkable. But Washington's built to compete because Jaden can keep him in any situation. And then when you get to last night and you're down so much, it's like, what do you have here? I got to say that Arrowhead crowd is how much fun is your job working? Just everything the Chiefs have built and put together.
It's been amazing. I mean, obviously, I've been here since 1993. I was drafted, played 6 years here, and we've been spoiled. Like, I literally tell people that when you play at Arrowhead Stadium, any team that comes in is down 10-0 before kickoff. Like, that's literally kind of the mindset that we always had as players. I think that rings true still to this day, is that it is an uphill battle with the crowd noise. The stadium is built in a way that if we rebuilt a stadium, you can't build it the same. It's against code. That's how it's built to kind of insulate the noise. And the fans are rabid. They're fun. They're not nasty like we've seen with Buffalo fans and Raider fans in the past. They're not that kind of fan base. They have a great time. The barbecue. People are spending the night here, the night before games, and it's an electric atmosphere. And I've been spoiled because I've been in just about every stadium throughout the NFL, old and new, and there's no environment like it. There's nothing like it. And it's a treat. I'm sure in some respects, some players would even admit it's a fun environment because it's kind of a throwback to college, especially if you came from the SEC or maybe some Big Ten schools. And people thrive off of it. But it is frustrating, and it is loud, and you can tell there were times in that game where communication wasn't the best for the Commanders, and there were some lapses and issues that happened, whether it was late play clock adjustments, whether it was lack of communication, snap counts, guys not getting off as quickly, maybe didn't have the ability to pick up blitzes. I want to say it was one of the first 4th down plays that were incomplete that you guys lost on downs where he overthrew Terry McLaurin on the corner route.
Yep.
That was totally the fans. He was looking, I could tell pre-snap from the booth, they ran smash flag on the left side. So Debo was on the outside. He ran like a 5-yard hitch. And then Terry was on the inside. He ran the corner. Smash flag, basic concept. And I could tell pre-snap that he totally thought he was going to throw the ball to Debo and get the first down. And because of the crowd noise and the late adjustment and lack of communication, soon as he received the snap and shotgun, our inside guy jumped on Debo. And he double clutched, and then he backpedaled because of the pressure and threw it out of bounds. That's the product of our 12th man. That's the product of our 12th man and the effect that it has on the game. So when I say like teams are down by 7 points, 10 points coming in before kickoff, it's real.
Dude, I agree with you. And I think it compounds when you're able to generate early turnovers and not get points. Because
Totally.
maybe that crowd sits on their hands a little bit if it's 7-0 in the first quarter. They're not accustomed to it. Hey, Danan, thank you so much for the time,
Appreciate
man.
you, brother.
Really appreciate it. It was a great conversation.
No problem. Good luck the rest of the season, guys. Appreciate y'all having me.
Take care.
Thanks, man. That is Danan Hughes, Kansas City Chiefs radio broadcast color commentator. Really smart dude right there. That was a great conversation.